I would bet my fucking testicles they would never do a deal. Just like most of you are going to fail. But you're going to fail richer. By fail, I mean you're not going to reach my Hall of Fame. You're not going to make $1 billion. And if you think you are, what are you smoking? Give me some of that shit. As long as it's not addictive, give me some. I was going to tear this down and build a swimming pool 3 or 4 years ago. And it's not that I never got around to it, but I never got around to it. Allah's will. And I put up this MIT study because people actually think that I'm like the other guys. I just make shit up. Now, I exaggerate. There's no question about that. But when I said that MIT said that the results are 10 times worse, I just didn't pull it out of my ass. I think they're 50 times worse. So we'll see who's going to be right. The deaths and the toll and how long Corona is going to last and that bullshit. But speaking of this pavilion, for 15 years, more or less, Sally and I didn't live here. And about 18 years ago or something, Sally said, we ought to sweat the asset. For those, where's the accountant guy? Sweat the asset means use the asset to produce some sort of income, increase cash. So we're here with huge expenses every month, and we're not here. We lived in Asia. I don't have to go to purgatory or to hell on my way to heaven because I spent 15 years in Asia, okay? I spent 3 years in India, 8 or 9 years in the Philippines, that area, and a couple years in China. So I've done my time. We've done our time in hell. And so she says, well, let's give weddings here. So that's how the wedding started. And so we built this thing for $1 million. And it doesn't look like $1 million, but believe me, it's $1 million. And we had weddings here for 10, 11 years, and very successful. And then when we moved back 5 years ago, we were phasing out of weddings, and so we don't do weddings here the last few years. But that's why we did weddings here to sweat the ass. But getting back to the COVID, I don't understand why the most popular thing I've done on YouTube in recent weeks is me saying that it doesn't make a shit whether we got COVID or not, because perception is reality. It doesn't really matter. It makes it our time. And, whether COVID lasts 18 months or 55 months, it never goes away. It doesn't matter. Enough people on the earth believe it, so why not us take advantage of it? Legal, moral, and ethical. Now, perception is reality. In that vein, now I happen to know all these guys. Dolph Lundgren, the tall blonde, the guy. Perception is reality. Remember when Rocky Balboa is looking up at Dolph, remember? And he's supposed to be 9'3", some shit. Well, Sylvester Stallone is 5'6". So a maximum, maybe Dolph is 6'1". Sally and I met a few years ago in Hong Kong. He comes to here. He makes Brian Rose look like a He-Man. The guy to the right of him, I don't know, but he's shorter than him. And he's a big star, whatever his name is. And then, of course, Arnie, the Schwarzenegger, the Schwarzfuck, who's supposed to be 6'3". Well, if he's 6'3", I'm 8'1". And then we got, Stallone is 5'6", legit. Perception is reality. It doesn't matter. You think Stallone and these guys are big, muscle-bound guys. They're not. On the biggest day, Sylvester Stallone weighed 170 pounds. On his best fucking day, with weights in his fucking pocket. Kind of like a little, not as little a weasel as you, but I mean, just like a little weasel. Perception is reality. It doesn't matter if there's a fucking COVID. People think there is. I'm going to read you 3 emails I got last night from kids like you doing deals. It's unbelievable. I would bet my fucking testicles they would never do a deal. Just like most of you are going to fail. But you're going to fail richer. By fail, I mean you're not going to reach my Hall of Fame. You're not going to make $1 billion. And if you think you are, what are you smoking? Give me some of that shit. As long as it's not addictive, give me some. But, so you make 10, 20, 50 million. So I could cut a deal with everybody in this room. I'll give you a check for 50 million pounds. Get up and leave. Now, and don't lie to me. Don't insult my intelligence. Every cocksucker in this room would get up. Yeah, some of you put down, I want to be billionaire. You can't even spell billion. In fact, a couple even misspelled it. Now, more perception is reality. Now, do these look like big He-Man heroes? No. Now, everybody knows he's a midget, right? Does everybody know, even with his fucking heels that he wears? And there's Schwarzfucker, who's supposed to be 6'3". He's a little dwarf shit like you. And he's not Persian. I love these guys they're all Persian now instead of Iranian cocksuckers. The Ayatollah, Ayafucko. Then we got Schwarzenegger again. Perception is reality. 6'3", and there's Sly, 5'6". And then we got the guy who I'm this much taller than. It doesn't matter. You're still going to go watch their movies because of perception is reality. Today is Sean Connery's birthday. I want to wish him happy birthday. 90 years old. God love him. And I'm not going to insult him by trying my Sean Connery imitation. But he's not 6'3" either. But I don't want to slag him off here, okay? He's not 5'6" either, though. It doesn't matter. And if you dwell too much on it, or if you dwell at all the fact that it's here, just let's take advantage. When you find a loose girl, loose meaning that'll, suck and fuck you and do whatever you want, My father told me there's nothing better than a grateful woman. I didn't know what that meant. But one of the things on my website, the day before I went in the military, my dad decided, well, fuck, he's 20 years old. He's probably not going to come back. How did the Vietnam War? Let's go out to dinner and have a few drinks. This is on the website. So we went out, had a few drinks. We're sitting at the bar. We're shooting pool. It was one of those kind of restaurants, had a pool table and shit like that. And so all of a sudden a drink appears in front of us, the bartender. So I look at my dad, and we didn't order it. And the bartender said, it's the woman at the end of the bar. And so I thought, well, she's trying to buy my dad a drink. I said, well, that's great. Oh, fuck. And so another drink comes with a note. The drink's for your son. So now I'm more interested. So like in a horror movie, my head goes spinning around and I'm looking at this old lady. I'm trying to see how old. I thought she was ancient. She's about 45. I thought she was ancient. I'm 20. 45, right? Old hag. So then another drink comes. And so my dad says to me, he says, you want to do this? I said, yeah. And so he turns back to the end of the bar and he shakes his head, yes. We finish a drink and my dad leaves. Now, I'm reporting the next morning to the military. I come home about 7 o'clock in the morning, and he and my mom are having breakfast. My dad didn't ask me where I was. I didn't tell him. Ask me no questions. I say no lies. To the day my dad died, we never talked about it. But stuff like that has been happening to me all my fucking life. I learned what a grateful woman meant that night. I didn't get 1 microsecond of sleep. Not one. I didn't think my dick could get that hard that many times. Perception is reality. Now, buggy whip, black and white TV, Smith Corona typewriters, most Main Street economy pre-Corona are hopelessly outmoded and dead forever. Ever. Some of you in this room have businesses that are the same as the buggy whip. You don't need buggy whips anymore because you got cars, right? It's hard to find a black and white TV, right? I've seen black and white TVs in Asia. That is where most of the economy is. It's outmoded and dead. And that's why we have leverage over the businesses that we are buying. Because down deep inside, they know it. And even if they don't know it 100%, they don't want to take the chance by continuing to own the business during post-Corona, if Corona ever ends. Most of the vaccines that are being developed are for more than 1 shot. You got to have 2 or 3 shots. Nobody's saying that. It's like, why do people smoke after they have cancer, have their lungs taken out? They can't help themselves, right? You are from pre-Corona to current Corona buggy whip business. And when we go through the scripts later on this week, how some of the guys have adapted the scripts to make them more Corona, meaning more rough, more aggressive, like you and I were talking about. Okay? This is you before Corona. In 1954, this was what they thought the computer was going to look like 50 years hence. We all know that's not what it looked like, right? We all know the difference in the power that the kids that went to the moon with, and blah, blah, blah. We all know that, right? But nobody wants to see their business. Nobody. And I alluded to it last night, how is a business that normally takes 50, 60 tables, that can only take 20 tables now, a restaurant? How? Oh, they're going to do not outsourcing. When you come to get the food, and you order it, right? You order on an app and shit like that. Are all the businesses going to be able to do that? No. Now, Kevin O'Leary, who I don't know from a hole in the ground, but he's considered the asshole of Shark Tank, says you ought to take the businesses, 20% of my businesses that he owns, and up to 40% of the businesses in the world today should be taken out around the barn and shot. And he's not. Kevin, with the greatest respect, but compared to Shark Tank and compared to the mentality of the average consumer, he's bad. Because you can't take, I screamed last seminar, famous scene, Jack Nicholson, you can't take the truth. Because you can't. The benefit that you're here. Some of you, it took a long time to get here, and you had to be through quarantine and that stuff. Shit, life happens. Like some of you, in this room, I said the last seminar, at least one of you is going to die from Corona. But that's only 1 in 20. It's not even that high. It's probably one in the seminars I'll give this summer is going to die from Corona. But somebody's going to fucking die from Corona. Perception is reality. We're on top. How long we stay on top, I don't know. From 1929 to 1941, it took that many years to recover from the Great Depression. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go into this, but it took from 1929 to 1941. And if we hadn't gone into the World War I, if we hadn't fucked the Japanese into bombing us, because we cut off their fucking oil supply, it's easy to argue we're the cause of the war in the Pacific, America. Because FDR couldn't bring the country out of a fucking recession. Depression. War always brings you out. I said last seminar, I said from 1939 to 1945, the Brits, stiff upper lip, soldiered on, bombs London. On the way home, and they bombed Birmingham and Manchester on the way back to Germany. Nobody cried about holidays. Nobody cried about anything. Nobody cried about the kids not getting their education, did they? They just soldiered on and did what you had to do. Well, that generation's dead. Now all we have is whining cunts, i.e. you. You're slightly less than of a whining cunt because you're here. Now, because of Corona, management is changing. What does Siemens and Netflix have in common? On the surface, nothing, right? Siemens is a great German conglomerate that's been around forever. There's a right way, a wrong way, and a Siemens way. They epitomize the industrial country of Germany. Merkel is keeping the EU alive because, in my opinion, she's got Jewish guilt because of the Holocaust. But they both switched to, one, you can be home as much as 60% of the time. I can't believe Siemens announced this. And two, but they're going to attach something to it, because I have managed people that aren't in an office for 50 years, and the productivity is about 20 to 40%, as much as if they're in the office. They say in America we're losing about $25 billion a month in revenue because of people working from home and closing down a business. $25 billion. I say it's between 30 and $35 billion, because the people that are working from home are about 1/5 as productive. You know yourself. Now, for us, it's been perfect. But both of these companies have switched to what's called an outcome result factor. Outcome. In other words, you can work from home, asshole, but if you don't achieve these outcomes, you're fired. Results orientated. But you won't do that, because you're going to have to hold people accountable. And you're going to have to fire them. So a lot of people are going to work from home. Manhattan real estate is going to be affordable for the first time in 40, 50 years. Mayfair real estate has gone down in value 6 quarters in a row. 6. Nobody puts it in the newspapers. You don't read it in the FT, Financial Times. You know why? Because then it'll become even more of a self-fulfilling prophecy. That game is over. You buy a piece of land, you build a piece of shit on it, you put morons in it. It's over. Some of you are in construction. You kill yourselves. Forget about it. Are we fucked up? This is the new advertising for the British Army. Would you read the labels on those signs, please? Do your mic, punch your mic, push your mic button. I know this is a little sophisticated for you. Go ahead.
Me, millennials. I can't read it, sir, because of my eyes.
Okay, well then we ought to put him to sleep. Okay, me, millennials, class clowns, binge gamers, selfies, phone zombies, and snowflakes. We will need you. Now, if that's not fucking insulting on every motherfucking level of humanity, when you got to start putting ads like this for the British fucking armed forces, when I say that we're fucked, when I say that we're past it, when I say there's no turning back, I mean it. This is insulting. I didn't believe it when somebody told me about it until they produced it to me. And a film comes with it. It's on the telly. They even want snowflakes. Makes it easy. You will not meet anybody out there even remotely similar to myself, other than a few mentees, and they're not even remotely similar to me, but maybe they're 1% of me. You get 1% as good as I am, you're rich. You get 5% as good as I am, you're a billionaire. I don't have any mentees that are better than 5%. The sweat just dripped off my testicle. Last time they sweated. Whatever, I don't know the past tense of that. There is no competition, and COVID has made it even easier for us. Because you all have no social skills, no interpersonal, you don't even have to go see them in person now. Because you can do a Zoom fuck, a Skype fuck. When I say you can do this in less than 30 days, I mean it. I could do it in a week. From the day I left here to the day I closed my first deal, 7th day. That's right, 7 days. And that's if I took some time off to roll around in the sack with Sally. 7. I could do it in 3 days. I could do it in 1 day. Fucking insult. During World War II, they had a big poster. Uncle Sam needs you. And that's what this is supposed to be a derivative of. Snowflakes. And the reason why they put the ads there, because recruitment in the militaries is way down. Is this scraping the bottom of the barrel? I don't know. I thought they were scraping bottom of the barrel way before this. Do you want to be liked or effective? I asked you last night. You didn't answer me, but I know you want to be liked. I already know you don't like me, but if anybody likes me at the end of the seminar, I didn't do my job. Because I've been called a lot of things, but trying to be liked is not certainly one of them. Because I know if I'm liked, I didn't do my job. If my kids liked me at the end of when they moved out of the house, I didn't do my job. I want them to respect me 20 years after they left. They've only been gone about 10, 15 years respectively. And they know what I said, contrary to what they thought, or what they wanted to believe, that I was right. And I don't like being right about the financial tsunami. I don't like being right about that kind of shit. But I am right. There's no question. Now, this is my daughter asking my secretary to make an appointment to talk. Most of you will take your kids' call just if they call you, right? I don't. Dated yesterday or the day before. Got another one from my son. That's how I run my life. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to produce children that are successful, that mean something in the world, which I have, even if they don't do any more, because they're already super successful. But like and love aren't words that we used me growing up. Just the opposite of you. I ask you, how did your program turn out? You turned out being dog shit, and your parents and your mother probably nourished you, right? A loving mom. I don't ask those questions anymore because then I go and get off on it and start yelling at you. And how did that program work out? It didn't, did it? Or it didn't work out like you wanted it to work out. Because you've been raised to be vanquished, not victor. And from vanquished come victim. And most of your parents are victims. Not just because mother got beat up by the dad. I don't mean that. They're socially emotional victims because they have no emotional bank. Now, a recent mentee from Australia, people show their increased net worth in different ways. Buying a $137,000 watch is not any big deal to me, but for most people it is. And this guy's no spring chicken. He's about 60, and he was skeptical that you couldn't do it in Australia. They're always skeptical. This is just one little show. And by the way, for those of you that have been doing deals in Corona, I haven't asked this, but I'm going to ask now. Put down the information and send them to me for my mentees, because I'm certainly not up to date. Normally during the seminar, people stop emailing me because they think I'm busy, because I am busy. But last night, let's start with the founder, right? Now, when you comment, push the button. We spent a lot of fucking money to make this thing better. And with your 40 IQs, push the fucking button and speak into the mic. Okay, what about the founder? Comments about the founder? Yes, sir.
The running theme throughout the movie is that he seized opportunity. He didn't wait around.
Pull the mic closer to you, please. We either got to get people with longer necks, or we have to have a longer mic. Okay, go ahead.
I say the running theme throughout the movie is that he seized opportunity. He didn't wait around and just went for it.
Okay, what else about the founder? Yes, sir.
What happens is he did the QLA kind of in the end when he was in the bank and find that accountant. Then that accountant give him some ideas about owning the land, and
by the way, that's not our model, owning the land. I'll get to that. Okay, but go ahead.
And he find another lawyer through that accountant that he helps him to rewrite the what they call it, the agreement between those two brothers.
Sale and purchase agreement. What else about the founder? Yes, in the back.
When your friends doesn't do what you want, get rid of them. Find new friends.
Have no friends is easy. Okay.
And when it comes to dominate the industry, there's no compassion, love. It's just dominating.
Sound like you guys so far? Not even remotely. What else about the founder? Yes, sir. For those of you that have cell phones with you, turn them off. Okay, go ahead.
He was ruthless. Absolutely.
Okay, stop there. See, none of you have said he's an asshole. See, you wouldn't say shit if it was in your mouth. He was a first-class prick. And anybody that knew him knew that. You can't even come to say those words.